Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to the internet and welcome to my channel. It's me, Odio, and I'm here to do a review today of one of my favorite movies of all time, The Iron Giant. I love this movie. I saw it in the theater when it came out in 1999, and I've recently rewatched it. I got the signature edition from my wife for my birthday. It's got extra scenes in it and a very, very cool dream scene that we get from the giant. It was awesome. Let's get into it. Alright, so the movie opens up and we're in space. You can see Sputnik flying around Earth and another satellite or something is coming towards the planet. It's a really awesome scene. I love the animation the whole way through this movie. It's smooth. It holds up really well. It looks great. It holds up to anything made today or even before. It's really, really good. Brad Bird made an awesome movie here, and I loved all of it. But the opening is just one of the best shots ever of the Iron Giant coming down. He lands in the ocean. It's just great. You see him stand up, and he's voiced by Vin Diesel. One of Vin Diesel's better voice acting roles. I like him as Groot, but I really liked him in this as well. He doesn't say a lot, just like with Groot, but he really nails the performance. So then we open up into our small town, and just to get the plot going here, we have a couple of characters we're going to be following. Our main character is Hogarth. He's a 9-year-old. He's got no dad there in the home. He's there with his mom. She's a single mother. Her name is Annie. She's working at the diner, trying to make ends meet and take care of Hogarth. He's into sci-fi and scary movies he's not supposed to watch. You see him watching those a few times. Then you run into Dean. You meet him in the diner pretty early on. There's an extra scene with him in this edition, actually. And he's a junkyard guy. He owns a junkyard, hangs out there. He seems like a pretty chill, sort of hippie type guy. There's also going to be some army guys coming later. Kent is one of them. He's one of the worst characters. He's evil. He represents McCarthyism. He thinks everything's red and an enemy. And then we get the general. That's Fraser's dad, John Mahoney. Great actress, or actor, sorry. Loved him back in the day as Fraser. He's really, really good. Or as Fraser's dad. So we open up with Hogarth getting into some mischief at the diner and introducing Dean and everybody together. So we're really following Hogarth for most of this. His dad's not in the picture. You do see a picture of him wearing kind of a flight suit and an army suit in one picture. It's 1957, so seems like he might have died in the war, or he's a pilot gone off, flight away to fight and died. It's 57, he's 9, so Korean War probably? I don't know. Either way, his dad's not in the picture, and he's a lonely kid, and his mom's at work. He's watching scary movies, and something happens. Dun, dun, dun. There's a loud noise outside, and he goes out to take a look at it. And of course, being a practical kid in 1957, he takes his little BB pellet gun, heads out into the woods to see what's going on. The TV antenna broke, so he can't watch that anyway. So as he heads out into the woods, that's where he sees the Iron Giant. It's a gigantic robot, 100, I don't know how tall it is, 100 feet? I'm just guessing. But it's stomping around. It doesn't know where it is. It's trying to eat all the metal. I think it ate his TV antenna. And it gets electrocuted. It gives him a big fright. He drops his gun. It gets broken. And the electrocuted robot is just flailing. And Hogarth runs away screaming. And then he realizes, wait, it's just being electrocuted. So he walks over and he undoes the power. You know, they always have those giant buttons on the outside, off and on, to turn the power on and off for the entire town. Completely regular, normal standard thing in 1957. And of course, there's one here. So Hogarth pulls that down and the giant is freed. And he becomes his friend, kind of. He goes over and sort of talks with them. They kind of have some moments. And like I said, Hogarth is lonely, so he's looking for a friend. And a giant iron robot, let me tell you, that's a great friend to have. 1957 or now, I want that. So Hogarth kind of hangs out with him, teaches him to talk. He kind of sounds like Groot, only saying a few words at a time. And it is Vin Diesel, but it's years before that. Still, though, you can't help it. I hate the comparison. And the army they show up to try to figure out what's going on, because obviously there's a meteor that's hitting the ground and things, so they want to know what's up. So Hogarth's trying to go home, but he can't get rid of the giant. He says, "You stay, I go," trying to go home, but he ends up having to take him home with him. And of course, they cause a train crash on the way. Nothing suspicious there for the army to figure out. So they head on home together, and he pretty much spends the night there. And the next day, he has to try to figure something else out to do with the giant. They have some pretty fun moments at the house. The mom doesn't know that the giant's there, but his hand crawls in at one point and is getting in the fridge, and it's watching something on the TV. It's actually watching a commercial for Tomorrowland, which is new. That's not in the old one. Brad Bird directed that movie from Disney in 2015, and that's when this edition came out, so maybe some connection there. Maybe he always wanted it there. But it's there in this one. Pretty cool touch. I like to see that. Then the army guy, Kent, he shows up to the house asking them questions, trying to figure out if they've seen the giant or anything. He's just a kid and the mom, so he goes to leave, and he realizes he had found a broken gun in the woods. And it says, hog, but he figures out it's Hogarth Hughes. So he heads on back. Nice little setup and payoff there. This movie's great with that. You get a lot of good moments like that. So he goes back to the house. Now he's trying to figure out what Hogarth knows. And they're trying to rent a room. He ends up moving in. So Hogarth has to deal with that, playing tricks on him, gets some X-Lax and stuff at one point. Really fun. So he does a couple things to get away from him, and then he heads back out with the giant. Hogarth hangs out in the, I think it's like a barn or something, but he hangs out there, shows him Superman comics. I love Superman, so I love that reference. And Iron Giant puts like an S on his chest, and he says, yeah, you're a hero. You're not a villain like the robots. You're a hero. You're a good robot. And he's like, yeah, killing people's bad, and you're good. So it's trying to train the robot to be nice, right? Because it seems like he's got a little ding in his head. So maybe something's going on with his memory. Like maybe we're not getting the whole story about the robot. So they have to move the robot, and he ends up taking him to the junkyard where Dean is, because Iron Giant eats metal. Dean is kind of freaked out at first, but he ends up going along with it, like no problem type thing. And they end up kind of becoming friends. You get a cute little montage of him creating art, because Dean's also an artist. He's not just a junkyard guy. He also does a little art on the side. I think he likes Annie too. She comes and checks out his art a couple times. But yeah, he's an interesting character. He's a lot of fun. All the scenes with him are a good laugh. Eventually, Hogarth has to go home, and he has to deal with the army guy again. And basically, the army guys give it like Kent. He's like I said, like McCarthy. He's an extremist. He's like, we have to figure this out. Don't you understand? This is the atomic age. Amazing things could be happening. Reminding me of a couple things, like the atomic age. When you think about it, it's like Fallout and lots of other shows. The atomic age is the cause of and solution to many of modern problems, right? But Hogarth, of course, he eludes him, goes off, plays with the giant. He's having good times. But then that guy Ken, he finds a camera, and he realizes there's a picture. He's got a picture of Hogarth with the Iron Giant. And he's been trying to get the army to come, but they're like, we're not coming. There's no giant robot or anything like that. But when we cut on back out to the giant and Hogarth, they're having some more really good moments here. There's a lot of really touching moments in the movie. It's really nice. They're in the woods. They learn about death through a deer, and the Iron Giant gets really upset about that. Hogarth has to go home, and this is the really different part. Okay. This is something to see. If you haven't seen the signature edition, when he goes to sleep that night, you can see his dream of taking over planets with other robots or destroying them like a big army of very scary death. It is very cool. You don't get that in the original, so it's nice to see it here. And it's a really neat moment. One of the big additions for this one. Probably, I guess the biggest addition for this, the biggest change in it. But it was really neat to see it. I hadn't seen it before, so it was exciting. So as Dean's kind of watching that on the TV, he looks out at the Iron Giant. So we go back to Hogarth, and now he knows that Kent has the picture, and he's calling in the army, and the army's coming. They're going to go get the Iron Giant. So Hogarth doesn't really know what to do, so he's going to go tell him, but now Kent's watching him all night, so they have kind of a staring contest. Long story short, the morning comes around, the army shows up, and when they go to see the Iron Giant, he looks like a statue now. He almost looks like some art by Dean. Oh, that's not an actual robot. So really cool. They trick everybody, and then they all leave, and Hogarth is celebrating, hanging out with the giant, and they're pretending when they're playing, they're just having some fun, really. But anyway, the army leaves because they're pretty much like, Kent, that's just a statue. That's not an actual giant robot. Why did you call us here? You're ridiculous, right? And then Hogarth is there playing with the Iron Giant, and he's got a little toy gun. And when he points that gun at the Iron Giant, then you see the scary Iron Giant. he kind of turns into the robot you see from Signature Dream, and he shoots at the gun. Hogarth doesn't notice because he's picking the gun up. It needs to reload or something. So the second time he shoots at him, Dean actually has to grab him because they're playing at the junkyard. And he tries to hide Hogarth. He's like, the robot's trying to kill you. And then the Iron Giant feels super guilty. Like, I'm not a gun. I wouldn't try to kill you. And he feels really bad. And Dean's like, look what you almost done. He runs away. Then they realize it was just defensive because he thought the gun was going to hurt him, just like, the deer earlier. So they're chasing him on the bike. Iron Giant's running away. He's feeling sad. And the army's leaving. And then out of nowhere, these kids see the Iron Giant. And even though it's going to be nothing but bad news for him, these kids, they're trying to see him, and they fall off a roof. And they grab a flagpole, and they're hanging on for dear life, and they're screaming for help, and there's no way they're going to get any help. So just before they fall, the Iron Giant runs in, stretches his hand out, and saves both the kids, and just slams it in the ground next to them. Turns around and puts them down as their father grabs them like, oh my God, thank you so much. He looks up at the giant. You know what was really different about this as opposed to most movies you'll see? The entire town was kind of out there around, milling about. Nobody got upset. Nobody freaked out at the giant or yelled. They realized, wow, he just flew down and saved those two children. He's a hero. I like that. In a lot of these old movies and a lot of new movies, you'll see the crowds just attack right away. That whole town recognized he was a hero right away. The only reason he came into town was to save those two kids. I really liked that moment. It made me feel good. And I think that Hogarth and them all realized then he is a good robot. He's not a gun. It was just a defensive thing. So then in the distance, because Kent and the army can now see the giant in town, they come back, they're firing tanks, cannons, guns, they're just trying to take him out. So the Iron Giant covers Hogarth with his hands and runs away, trying to protect him from getting hit by the bullets. And as he's running, Dean tries to warn the army, like, don't shoot, he's got Hogarth. And he tells Kent, and Kent actually tells the general, played by Fraser's dad, that he's killed the kid. And then they all start shooting at him even more. But he can also fly. The Iron Giant flies up, and away. It's another awesome moment. Hogarth tells him to put his hands out like Superman. He's got the S on his chest. Oh, it's so good. I really, really like this movie. So he flies around and then he comes on back down to Earth with Hogarth intact. Or tries to, but when he's flying around, he gets attacked by a bunch of jets and planes shooting missiles and things at him, and he gets shot down. And he's crashing down to the earth, and he's trying to protect Hogarth. When he hits the ground, Hogarth goes flying. And the giant gets up, and Hogarth doesn't. And I remember as a kid, I was like, oh no. It looked like he was dead. Like, that's it. And the giant thought that too. Let me tell you. The army came up behind him like, oh, we should still shoot him. We should try to finish him off. They couldn't do anything to him. He was so powerful. But once he thinks Hogarth is dead, any chance of him being a hero is gone. And then you get the Iron Giant of Death. He comes around and weapons are coming out of his arms, out of his chest. He's got this crazy spinner electric weapon. He's destroying every tank in sight. There is nothing they can do to stop this thing. He's just destroying all the army. He's walking back through town. They have giant battleships trying to shoot it. Nothing can stop. He's going to destroy the battleships. He can shoot these giant, atomic balls of energy out of his chest. The Iron Giant is the kind of thing that you send down to destroy an entire planet. He is their doomsday. Even just one of them, I don't think we could handle. And then luckily, while all this destruction is going on and we are clearly about to be destroyed by the giant, Dean realizes Hogarth is okay. He gets him up and drives down. And while the Iron Giant is going around destroying everyone and battleships are blasting him, Hogarth, what a man. He gets out, goes down, 9 years old, stands in front of this giant killing machine. It's blowing things up. It's about to shoot a battleship. He's like, stop! And it's such a great moment. The Iron Giant recognizes him and he's like, you're not a gun. You're a hero. And it's so good. The Iron Giant, he just goes back to what he was. And then he starts to walk back up to the families and stuff like the hero he's supposed to be. And then Kent is there like, oh no, he's killed the kid. And then the general sees, he's like, what are you talking about? Everybody's fine. And then Dean tells him, it's only defensive. If you don't shoot at him, he won't shoot. So it's a great moment. And then Kent just grabs the thing and says, fire the missile. So the nuke is coming. Oh, and as a kid, I was always scared of nuclear missiles. I still am. But when I see it get launched up in the air, it's like just a feeling of existential dread. And the general even looks at Kent. He's like, we're all going to die. Like, this is your fault. The robot is here. And that's where it's going to hit. And so the Iron Giant is looking at everyone, and they're all sad. And Hogarth says, when that missile comes down, we're all going to die. And the Iron Giant looks up at that and looks down on him, and it's just so touching. He says his name. He says, Hogarth. And then he looks at him and he says, you stay here. I go. No following. Just like Hogarth said to him earlier. And he just launches into the air. And when he gets like up into space and the nuke is there, he just says, he remembers Hogarth telling him, you can be what you want to be. And he's like, Superman. And the nuke just goes off and destroys him, and he saves everyone. Oh, it's such a such a great moment. I love this movie. And rest assured, after watching this movie, Vin Diesel is a guy that, with very few words, is a great voice actor. And he's got some great deaths animated and whatnot as Groot and as the Iron Giant. Both of them are really, really good. I like them both. Like, we are Groot and you stay, I go. Oh, really, really good. He's a great voice actor. He should do more of those. And then after that, he basically is gone, and they're all down there celebrating, and they make a big monument to him. Dean does, and they all say it's his best work ever. And yeah, then they actually get Hogarth the last piece. Only one piece of the Iron Giant was ever found. Everything else was just obliterated. And then at the end of the movie, you do see earlier in the movie too, that if the Iron Giant gets injured, he could heal himself. There's a little button on his head that beeps, beep, 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 and it calls the pieces back. And at the very end, the piece that Hogarth has goes against the box, like tap, 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 trying to get out. Going against the window. He opens the window and it's leaving. And it cuts away to the Iron Giant. He's like at the North Pole. He's just ahead. And he's calling all his parts back to him. It's awesome. And it gives you like this feeling of hope, like, and heroism. It's really, really good. And it looks like it's about time for all the parts to get back together for a sequel that never happened. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to do one now. This is 25 years ago. But I love this movie, and I recommend it to anyone of all ages, everywhere. It's one of the greatest stories. It's heartwarming. It's fun. You smile, you laugh. It's a tearjerker at times too. The Iron Giant is a masterpiece. I love it. So I recommend everyone watch this movie. But thanks for your time. If you watched this far, I really appreciate that. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, stay out of trouble.